everyone! Today I've got your Justice League spoiler review. Now, if you guys had seen my previous review for Justice League, non-spoiler, I'm actually doing a giveaway for a Justice League poster that I had gotten from my screening on Monday, so you guys can check out the details of that in that video. If you guys have not seen Justice League, this would not be a recommended video for you to watch, but if you do see Justice League, then you guys can come back here and we could talk all about the spoilers. So, without any further ado, let's hit the spoilers. I really enjoyed this movie, and because I had seen it for the second time just on Thursday, I had tried to pick up on a few things that I had missed maybe the first time, or go back to really thinking about what I had previously seen and whether or not I liked it or definitely wanted to at least discuss it. The first thing I want to talk about is, in fact, the return of Superman. Now, I was very vague in my non-spoiler review about did he return or didn't he, but I can in fact confirm that Superman has returned. Henry Cavill is in this movie. I was really happy to see him return. It was expected, especially by the fans, and of course, seeing the end of Batman v Superman, he was definitely going to be coming back at some point. We just didn't know when in the movie. Now, I will say that the way he had returned, which was via using one of those mother boxes to basically resurrect him, I thought like, oh, like that was, you know, a very cool scene. I really loved how that all played out, and everybody was sort of suggesting, oh, is this a good idea or not, because they weren't sure how the end product was going to be in the form of Superman. Could he be a good guy? Could he be a bad guy? I mean, Henry Cavill sort of teased on his either Twitter or Instagram black and white photo of the Man of Steel suit. And if you're familiar with the comics, you know that Superman at some point does don a black suit with a silver logo, and they sort of showed that in Batman v Superman with the one casket that was black with the silver Superman logo. So you thought, oh, maybe in the future movies he was going to wear that suit, but I technically was sort of on the fence about that, or against it, because it would compete with Batman's costume, and I'm really glad that he got to wear the red and blue suit again, so I was really happy to see that. But we don't get to see him look like that at first, and except being shirtless and being hit on by Lois Lane, who says, oh, you smell good. And even though I thought that was weird, the way he had returned I thought was very quick and fast-paced. It was interesting, but I would say at the end of the day I did enjoy it, and just seeing his many freak out moments. And then of course Ezra Miller's Flash brings up a Pet Sematary reference, and I know me as well as everybody else in the audience was definitely laughing at that, and I just really found it funny. Besides that resurrection scene, you do notice that because of some of the reshoots that happened for Justice League, Henry Cavill was donning a mustache because of his new role in the upcoming Mission Impossible movie, and of course they had to edit it out. And you know, at times I didn't notice if it was there or not, a potential scene where he was donning the mustache, but then it looked very, I don't know, it was just weird in post-production. It seems really crazy, but I feel like overall his abilities in this movie definitely exceeded my expectations, especially with the freezing breath, which I know is definitely a Superman ability that we had not seen, but I know as a Superman fan you would want to see more of his abilities that we have never seen before in Man of Steel and even Batman v Superman. As far as any of the other characters go, I really felt like especially Aquaman stood out to me. You know, Jason Momoa was really awesome. as Aquaman, and of course he's got his solo movie coming out next year directed by James Wan, and you do see his world Atlantis, and you get to meet, I guess, another character from that world, Mera, played by Amber Heard, and you get to see this Aquaman-Mera interaction where she kind of talks about something that happened to Aquaman's mom, Queen Atlanna, played by Nicole Kidman, and apparently she's not in Atlantis. I don't even know where she went. They didn't really say, so it could be foreshadowing a possible plot point to come in the Aquaman movie, which will be interesting to see because, you know, we have seen Nicole Kidman in the DC universe before, and also wondering what the heck has happened, because how long has Aquaman been away from Atlantis, or he just comes and goes because he was currently in Iceland and doing his thing as Arthur Curry when Bruce Wayne located him. So it'd be really interesting to see how this is all sort of going to shape up for the Aquaman movie, and what that movie is going to be about, which I am really looking forward to seeing come out later next year. Other Justice League characters who were hinted at in this movie are the Green Lanterns. And they show one Green Lantern who is not a human Green Lantern, because there's all sorts of alien Green Lanterns, and of course you have the human Green Lanterns like Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and all those other guys. And you see one who is dying, who had died fighting Steppenwolf, who is the villain of this movie, and of course when you die you lose your power ring, and that just goes flying off, and who knows who it's going to come across next. And I'm really hoping it's Hal Jordan, and I think that would be really cool, especially for it to also set up the Green Lantern movie, Green Lantern Corps movie that is coming out in 2020. We'll hopefully try to speculate who that ring is going to belong to next. I also liked how at some point at the end of the movie, Bruce and Diana are in his dilapidated Wayne Manor, and there's this one room that's all open, and then he says, oh, I want to make a table, and, you know, kind of this whole, like, Knights of the Round Table type thing, but we know it's for the Justice League members that are also currently in the Justice League alongside Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Flash and Cyborg and Superman, so that's 6. So, and then Diana responds with, and even room for more, and I'm also really hoping that it's Green Lantern, because that would just make the whole Unite the Seven thing tagline that was from an Aquaman poster back in Batman v Superman era to really come to light. Darkseid was mentioned at least once in this film. Now, Darkseid is basically the big bad of the DC universe, who is even bigger and badder than Steppenwolf, and he's also to be compared to Marvel's Thanos. I was wondering why they chose to mention his name but not bring up Apocalypse, which is Darkseid's homeworld, which was sort of hinted at in the nightmare sequence of Batman v Superman, and it would just be really cool to see him return. But I'm also kind of worried about how he will return, and if he'll look anything as far as CGI goes like Steppenwolf, because I wasn't too impressed with that. So if they're gonna go that same route, I might have an issue with it, but I'm not gonna really get into that until Justice League Part 2 actually is in production and eventually comes out. I would also like to mention one of the Easter eggs that I had found in the film. I'm sure if you guys have seen the Easter eggs in this movie as well, you can mention it in the comments below. One of the buildings that was in Gotham City, in the beginning of the film, I had noticed a name, Janus, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it was on a building, and I actually looked this up immediately on Wikipedia, and it was referring to the character Two-Face, which is part of Batman's Rogues Gallery, aka Harvey Dent, and it would be really cool because they kind of also did that whole Ace Chemicals thing in Suicide Squad, so I would love to see a future Batman movie feature, you know, some of the other characters besides the Joker from the Rogues Gallery to be sort of facing off against Batman. I think that would be really cool, but after the Dark Knight, I don't know if that would be considered too soon to have him on again. We'll see, as compared to anybody else who maybe we haven't been familiar with or haven't seen in a while. What happened to some of that footage from all of those trailers that we had seen that ended up being cut from this film? And I know it was a concern for me when this movie had a runtime of 2 hours, and I was worried that they were going to rush it, unlike Batman v Superman, who had a runtime of 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then the ultimate cut was 3 hours. And I'm just thinking, there's so many unanswered questions. Like, who was Alfred talking to in that one scene? Some people were speculating, oh, it's Superman, or I was thinking it could be Superman or the Flash, and people were thinking even far-fetched idea like Green Lantern. I don't even know who else it could possibly be besides that. I don't know if it was as much of an importance or to show it, or I hope they do eventually show these scenes maybe in a potential ultimate cut, but if not, I think, I don't know, it would just leave me with a lot of unanswered questions. And I'm also okay with them cutting out Iris West, who is a part of Flash's universe, Barry Allen's, I guess, girlfriend. So I'm not too disappointed that they decided to forego her small scene in this movie. Or even when Bruce and Diana are talking to each other, sort of trying to look up on a computer of who they were going to recruit, and they were both saying like, oh, he said no. So I don't know if they were referring to either Aquaman or Cyborg or somebody, but who knows who they were actually talking to. That's also up in the air. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the post-credit scenes. Now, there are two of them. One that is at the way end of the movie, and one that's sort of mid-credits. And that first scene is with Superman and the Flash, who have that iconic race. And, you know, I was thinking when I first saw them sort of going up against each other earlier on in the film, I thought that was really cool because they are both pretty fast in their own special way. So it was really cool to see them sort of racing off and see how that was all going to go down. I thought it was really funny, and it didn't feel out of place at all. I just thought it was like, you know, really cute, and it was pretty awesome to watch them sort of interacting even more than they did in the actual film. So I just really enjoyed that. And also the second post-credit scene is one that I absolutely loved, because I knew especially the first character that they ended up showing, or at least teasing, was Joe Manganiello's character, Deathstroke, who is kind of the equivalent of Deadpool in a way, has that sort of assassin look to him, and he's got the mask, and they teased his footage earlier this year, and I really just loved seeing him coming up on a boat, and then he's going to an even bigger boat, aka Lex Luthor's yacht, and it was the coolest yacht ever. And then we finally get to see Lex Luthor, bald head, suit on, but then we knew that he was supposed to be in Arkham, but then he kind of escaped, so then there was somebody that was like a decoy that looked like Lex Luthor, but it wasn't him. And then we see Lex Luthor on the boat, and he's talking about setting up a team of a league of some sort. Now, immediately I knew that it could either be referring to the League of Assassins or the Injustice League, but I feel like, you know, Justice League and Justice League would sound too similar, so they might not go that route to not confuse anyone. So whichever route they go, I think it would be really cool to see another sort of Suicide Squad-esque version of Lex Luthor's team of bad guys, but I don't know how much further they're going to get or who they would even want to pick. But as long as it's a whole bunch of new people that we have yet to see in this DCEU, I would be completely okay with. So it really makes me hopeful for the future of the DCEU. And I'm not even going to get into talking about the Rotten Tomato score for this film, because I'd really like to see a movie for its own merits. And I just really enjoyed watching this film, so I can't wait to see what's next for the DC universe. Let me know in the comments what you guys found that you liked about this movie as far as spoilers go. If you're looking forward to seeing more from the DCU, what you hope would be Warner Brothers' steps for really shaping up this universe to be something that fans and audiences of all kinds can enjoy. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates coming every week for a Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.